guys, this week you just saw me make up the pine cone Alumilite resin and the sunshine yellow ALCHOLINK with the little mini pine cones. Now these pine cones, I did put them in the oven. I turned the oven up to about 150 degrees and I put them in there for about 10 minutes to get them really warm, just to help that resin soak into the all the gaps. Now there is a few little air bubbles that appeared on the side, but they're not going to be a problem. That's going to get turned away anyway. Now I got that tip from Doug over at the Pole Barn Projects. He advised me to heat the pine cones up first, and it helps, and it does look like it has helped quite a bit, so thank you very much, Doug. Now the idea for today is going to make the main part of the pot with the resin block, and I've got a bit of oak here. Now I want to have like an oak lid in it and potentially an oak base, but we'll see about the base once I've started to turn it down, whether it's going to look better with or without it. Sort of a bit unsure, but I know for sure I do want an oak lid in the top, and maybe a little FINIAL of some sort, or not, we'll see. Also I'm going to be using, I've received my negative rake cutter. I ordered this from Yandles to fit on my, I've got the full size Easy Wood tool. It's going to fit on there for doing the resin work. I've heard great things about it, and I've not used a negative rake before on my resin work, so it should make it a lot easier. Anyway, let's get on with the project. So that is cutting lovely. Much better than the standard one to start off with on the resin. I've always found when you first start after on a blank, you tend to get a little bit of chip out on that standard cutter. But yeah, that negative rake's really nice. So guys, now we've got like a basic shape going, and what we're going to do is I've put a tenon on this end. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get that into the chuck. I'm going to get the force in a bit, and I'm going to start hollowing out the inside, just so I can get sort of the rough thickness I want for the lid to sit in the top. And then we'll debate whether to put on an oak bottom as well, and I really think I will put the oak bottom on. But what we do is we'll get the bit in the chuck, get the force in the bit in, cut out the centre first, and we'll go from there. So I think that's about as deep as I'm going to go. We're fairly deep there. I don't want to go much deeper, because not at the moment anyway. I might go a bit deeper if I put an oak base on, but at the moment that's where we're going to stop. We're going to sort of get in there now with the tools, and we're going to start sort of turning that back and maybe getting some shape coming in out here. Just sort of working on some shapes now and see what we can come up with. Right, so guys, now I've got my shape, and I've got the rim how I would like it, and I've cleaned up any of them sort of air bubbles that were sitting on the edge. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to sand it back, blow out any, as I blow out any holes. I can see a few little holes here which I might fill up with some CA. Then what we do is we'll reverse this in the chuck once this is all cleaned up, take off the bottom, and then we're going to concentrate on putting on the oak lid and bottom. Right guys, so what we're going to do now is I'm going to take this part of the pot off the chuck. I'm going to turn down the piece of oak, wherever I put it. There we go. Yeah, so we're going to get the piece of oak turned down now. We're going to make up the lid, and then what we're going to do is we're going to flip reverse this into the chuck, and we're going to take it back a bit, take the tenon off, and I am going to put an oak base on. So we'll get that started now, and like I said, we'll start off with the lid. Right, so guys, I've come up with an extra idea for the pot, which I think might look quite nice once it's all cleaned up. That is the tenon I took off the bottom of the pot. What I might do is fix that onto the top of the oak, and then have that piece on the oak like so. And then we'll sort of finish off on the top. It'll be like a little pine cone top, which I think will look quite nice. So I think that's what I'm going to go with. Now I'm just going to glue it all up. So guys, that's the turning done on it. I'm going to sand it all back again. I'm not going to bore you with that. I'm just going to run up straight through the sanding, all the sanding grits from 120 up to 400. Then I'll probably jump back in on around, well, after actually saying that, I'll probably jump back in on the microfine Yorkshire grit. The last thing that has to be done for this, which I've decided I'm going to do, is I'm going to make a little oak finial up so it jumps back to oak for the top. So guys, there it is, this week's project. Little pine cone and resin box with a I believe it's sunshine yellow ALCHOLINK. So we have an oak base, an oak rim in the lid, also a little oak finial. Reason I put the little oak finial in is because I didn't want the finial to sort of distract you away from the or whoever's looking at it, away from the pine cones. I think if there was a big finial on there, that would be very distracting. So I quite like the little finial. I just put a little angle on it. Nice deep base. There is a couple of little flaws in it. I think there's one round here where the resin didn't sit right down to the bottom of the pine cone, but I can live with that. I do like the lid. And all I've done there is when I cut the pot off, this was the bit left which had the tenon on, which was holding it into the chuck. So all I've done was flip that round off the bottom onto the top of the oak base, or the oak lid, and I think that gives it some pretty cool effects in there. Looks like the pine cones are sitting on top of the oak there, which is quite nice. I quite like the yellow with the oak, and yeah, it was a fun project. I'm going to be doing many more of these types of projects. I really enjoy doing them. So if you like the video guys and you haven't already, please hit that subscribe button and that like button, and if you're feeling really generous, that share button. But that's it for this week guys. I will put some stills up at the end of this one. I know I haven't recently, but I will at the end of this one. Thanks for watching guys, and I'll see you again next week.